Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Solidify Your Business with Marielle and Anna. Very happy to be here with you all. If you're joining us live inside of our Facebook group, welcome. And if you're watching this on the replay and you want to join our private chats in our Facebook group, definitely there will be a link somewhere around here. I'm excited about this topic, Anna.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Today is all about how to build an audience from scratch.
yeah, that's hard. Like, I remember the feeling of, oh, okay, today I'm getting started. I have to start this Facebook thing, this social media thing. And this was a long time ago. Actually, I vividly remember that day. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But it's hard to build your business if you don't have an audience. And it's hard to start an audience, period. There's so many reasons for that. And it definitely requires all the secrets you can get and a very particular mindset that you need to adopt in order to do it correctly. And what happens, Anna, is that when you do adopt that mindset and you go on that path of building your audience from scratch, it's a journey that is extremely empowering. Especially once you start developing the feedback loop and you start really attracting your people and signing your people up and showing up to your calls with these people that really like what you have to offer in your message. And it just becomes kind of like a high.
Yeah,
Eventually, you get used to that. And it really is makes your work as an expert and a coach fun and very meaningful. So if you're at that starting point of starting your audience, you're like from scratch, and maybe truth be told, sometimes it feels from scratch at different levels,
that is so true.
right? I mean, regardless if you're brand new or if you're up leveling, this is going to be, we're going to go deep and we're going to talk about secrets, like tangible things that you can implement right away. And we're also going to go down the rabbit hole of some mindset shifts and soul shifts that you should be aware of, because that's the rocket fuel. That's the rocket fuel that empowers your actions and your systems. So,
It
yeah.
really is because if you really think about it, everyone starts from scratch at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We all have to do it. We have to start there, right?
It's true.
So the things that we're going to talk about today are going to be fundamental. Like you said, like at any stage of your business, it doesn't matter if you've already have some clients, some following, at the next level, you're also going to start from scratch there, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just feel, and I've heard past students before working with us say things like, I just feel, I feel like I'm never going to be able to grow my following or catch up to others that are doing what I'm doing, and they're doing it so much better. And how am I ever going to keep up with that?
Yeah.
And it's a nagging feeling, truthfully. I mean, especially when you're launching something new that you've been working so hard to hone and to create and to put out. So you already need like the courage to do that to begin with.
Yeah.
But then also now you have to put it out in the world, and there's all these thoughts and emotions that come up, you know?
Yeah. I think we kind of go through the same kind of thinking whether we're just posting content
Mm,
or like, yes, we're posting content consistently and then we're about to launch like our new offer or new program of some sort. and hoping for like the best, right? Because like we've been so consistent posting. And so like what do you think is going on there when somebody has, maybe they have been posting content? So the question there would be, what's going on if they're not gaining engagement on their content? Maybe we can focus there, or did you want me to also ask the second one?
Let's start with that one.
Okay, yeah, let's do
So
that.
ask it again.
So if you have been posting consistently, if I've been posting consistently about, my I've been doing maybe my weekly signature show,
Yeah.
right? And it feels like I'm not gaining engagement or traction, or I'm not even getting likes, or
Mm,
viewers. Even the replays are not being watched, So what do you think is going on there?
that's a really good question. My first follow-up question to that is, how long have you been doing it?
Ah, that's a really good question.
So Rome wasn't built in a day,
Yes.
And I think that it's pivotal to understand that as you are building your audience from scratch, that it's a journey and it is not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
It's something that the good news is that you don't need to have a huge audience to make money. What you need is influence with the small audience you have.
Yeah.
And the good news is that that's an internal thing. That is something that you can control, that is in your control. You can't control the algorithms, although we've gotten pretty close. But you can become influential, and that's something, it's an internal job. So that's my first question, like, how long have you been doing this? And I see people do this all the time mistakenly, thinking that they're going to try this new thing, and because they did it once or because they bought a program, that it's going to do itself. And I'm sorry to tell you, but that's not going to happen. That is infantile, truly.
Yeah.
Everything requires effort. Um,
Hey,
but
Vicky. Vicky's watching.
hi, Biggie, what's up? But it's also not about putting in so much effort, meaning
Yeah.
so much force and pressure, and keep doing to where you're no longer in flow and you are kind of going against the laws of what's that law that I like? It's like it's basically the law of reverse effort. The harder you try, the less it's going to work. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that anyone watching today, joining us, I want you to think about a moment in your life where you put in, you were just like prepared. You went all in, and the harder you tried, the worse you got. Like maybe even with video. I know that I've had times before where I have this very specific message or video that I want to create. And I used a teleprompter, for example. And the first time that I did it, I was great. But I was like, I want to do it better. And I became a little bit of a perfectionist. So I tried more. And by the second take and the third take and the fourth take, sometimes you get worse.
Yeah.
That is a perfect application of the law of reverse effort. So when you're first starting your journey of building your audience, it's first you have to understand it is a journey. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are building an audience of ideal clients, of people that you really want to work with, that you connect with. And
Yeah.
that should be the first intention. And sadly, that's usually not the first intention. It's usually like, well, how am I going to get more likes and more follow? followers. More followers because and it's an ego thing. It's a total ego thing. Like I gotta prove that I'm legit. So I need more than 1,000 followers or whatever. And so your intention becomes get the followers so that then I can get credibility, so that then I can get the clients. And
Yeah.
that's the wrong intention.
Or it could be also the intention could be also that I want to reach as many people as possible, when as many people as possible is not really the answer to,
Yeah,
when am I going to get clients, or where am I going to get clients? It's not so much the size of the audience, but
totally.
is it the right audience?
Is it the right people? You can have a workshop or a webinar with 10 people on there. But if there are 10 people that have been showing up to your signature show, that have been liking the things that you're saying, that joined your group, that that you are starting to build a connection with because they go to your posts and you go to their posts. Do you see how that's so much more powerful than having
So
100
much
people
more.
who are just kind of like your hook, like the name of the workshop.
Yeah.
So, but if you show up to that workshop or webinar fully in your power and you've already built somewhat of a real connection with those 10 people and you have the right offer at the end of the workshop, you're still in your power. You're still, you switch seamlessly from a superstar to salesperson,
Yeah.
you're going to get clients. You're going to have at least 2 to 3 people sign up out of those 10.
Yeah, and they're not gonna see it as see you as salesy either, because you
No.
have a pre-built relationship with them already. You've engaged multiple times. You've built that kind of bond, right? Even if
Yeah.
it's virtual. That's why I love what we're teaching in organic visibility right now, the sprint that we're doing right now with our VIPs, is because we're teaching them how powerful organic traffic can be.
Yeah.
That's a totally different audience than somebody who you would attract from ads. Having both is great, and is definitely something that we all can aim for at an organic. But the main difference between the two audiences is that that organic audience, like, they literally found you organically, which means they volunteered and they raised their hands like, I love your content, I love
Yes.
what you have to say, and
Yes.
I resonate with it so much that they're gonna be like one of your loyalist fans. Is
Yeah.
that even a word, loyalist?
It's okay. You can make up words. I do it all the time. Solidify your business. um, You're absolutely right. That's how I launched my business, and that's how most people launch their business, with organic. The key is building a real connection, um, and that requires you to be in your power presence, in your authority, and it also requires you to stay in flow, because if you don't, what happens is that you start the law of reverse effort really does start to work against you.
Mhm.
So you really start, um it's almost like creating a bottleneck in your energy.
Yeah.
And even though you're working your ass off, um it's not working for you,
Like that
right?
resistance, like invisible resistance that's going on. Because what
Totally.
happens with your energy when you are doing the doing
Mm-hmm.
and you're not seeing the equivalent result of it, right? You're starting to like doubt yourself, like, am I putting out the right content? Do people even want to hear from me? You
Am
know,
I any good?
right, right. Yeah. So then that's the energy that you're coming from,
Yeah,
because you're just doing, 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 and you're experiencing that law. I've actually never heard of that law before until you mentioned
I
it.
made it up. No. I make it up. It's actually the same thing as the law of surrender. It's the same thing as allowing. It's an
Yeah.
art, you know, it's an art. And I feel like it's one of the things that entrepreneurs really have a dance with all the time
Yeah.
because it's so easy to get into doing because things need to get done,
Hmm.
right? And it's so easy, but then you get into doing and you forget about the being and you forget to allow. And you know, I say this a lot with my son. My son is he's in 3 basketball teams. And so I'm the crazy basketball mom sitting on the sidelines yelling, screaming, and they're like, "This lady needs to like get a life." Um, but you know, when he has a game that he's like, or like his uncle comes to see him or watch him, it happens every time. He plays horribly.
Mm.
But when he goes to a game where he knows that he's one of the better players and he's just like having fun and showing off and you
Yeah.
know his energy is different, he kills it.
Yeah.
So that's where I came up with the name of it's Bobby. It's the law of reverse effort.
Yeah.
So
That's
so
such a great example.
yeah, so that's exactly what it is for us. Like there's so many examples that we can go through and stories that I have about times in my business where I've just tried so hard and at the end I was like, God, that felt like I was climbing Mount Everest, you know?
Yeah.
And other times where I'm just like scrolling through Facebook and just like posted something that really came from, you know, within me and somebody's like, "Hey, how do I sign up?" You know? It's just the trick is this, people. It's not one or the other. It's not that you need
Hmm.
to be a doer or you need to be in flow all the time. It's that
Yeah.
you need to stay in flow and get it done. Both.
Yeah.
That's art. That's why we say this over and over and over. You have
Hmm.
to do both. And that's the mastery. That's the journey of being an entrepreneur. And that's truly where the gold is that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life. It's learning how to be that next. Because truly, when you learn how to be, stay in flow, how to be in flow, but get things done, you've stepped from being human 1.0 to being human 2.0.
Yeah.
That's the journey.
You upgraded.
Yeah, you are a living embodiment of potential, of true potential.
Mhm.
So if you hear me, if you understand what I just said, it's deep, but
Yeah.
that's really where the gold is, Anna. I mean,
Hmm.
yes, we love money. We love, you know, I love when we see sales every day and all of that fun is awesome. And you know, this goes back to the other reality is that you can't do it all alone. Like you can't really live that life and be in flow and get it done by doing it all yourself. Like that just doesn't, you know, I don't know what law, maybe the law of thermodynamics. I have no idea.
Well, so like we've been talking about this in the last two goddess circles, I believe, as far as like I think it was Vicky actually that brought it up as far as like, can I just like go live whenever I want? Like, do I have to go live on a consistent schedule, you know?
Oh yeah.
So the answer that we gave her was like, take what we tell you with a grain of salt. Like you still want to stay in flow, um and find ways to how if I want consistency,
Hmm.
it's really just about consistency and showing up, right? And
Yeah.
if you're prepared when you show up, or if you're in flow and inspired because you were prepared, then like the outcome will be way better than like you have it planned and you're just like, today's live. You know what I mean? like no life, no excitement, no energy, so it's like you said, it's a balance between the two. But how can you, let's just say in terms of your signature show, how can you find a balance between the flow and getting it done and still staying in that balanced state? That's the question. That, and you're the only one that can answer that for
Mhm.
yourself, because you know yourself the best.
You know, I think that's a wonderful question. And so many times we seek the answer for somebody else to give us that answer.
Yeah.
And the best advice I could give you is in the morning, wake up, write that question down, and pray about it.
Mm,
Ask,
yeah.
like, who are you praying to? Like, whatever you believe in, say, how do I get this done? Because I know that this is important. And how can I do this without losing my balance? How can I enjoy this?
Yeah.
And I promise you will get an insight. You
Those
are
are some
opening the
great
door.
questions.
You have to use your words. It's so like hallmarkish or whatever to say, use your intention. Use your words.
Yeah.
Like use your words, ask the question, and it's going to come to you. Something's going to happen. The right book is going to fall off, and you're going to get stubbed in the toe. You're going to look down and there it was. You're going to open the a book to the right place. You're going to get a call. This happened to me today. Oh my God. So I was thinking something, and this morning we have an event here in New Jersey, and I had this thought, and I just went along with my day. And then my best friend sends me a text message saying, "Hey, I was thinking you could do blah, blah, blah." I was like, like if that's not the universe, I don't know what it is. That's God right then,
Yes,
right
yes.
there. Like, yo, I don't want you to miss this sign right here.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that will happen if you ask the right questions to yourself. And obviously having place to ask those questions in, I think this happens to us all the time inside of Goddess Circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where
Mm-hmm.
somebody asks one thing or is grateful for something, and then they share something else, and then all of a sudden all this magic unfolds, and the ideas come from others, things you didn't consider, a word you needed to hear to solidify something you were already percolating on.
Yeah. Speaking of questions, because those are all great questions. So whether you're watching the live or the replay, I recommend that you like pause, maybe even rewind to write those questions down. Because also we prepared the efficient influencer blueprint for you guys. So for anyone who's watching this live and is part of our group, we prepared this really cool blueprint for you that can really shift the way you see how you build an audience on social media.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a powerful exercise. We did it actually with our clients last week. Um, and and if it's something that you don't do before you even start to build an audience, I think you're just gonna go from strategy to strategy, and you're just gonna feel completely lost forever and ever if you
Yeah,
don't do that exercise.
totally. Yeah, I mean, this exercise is really powerful. We did inside it with our VIP clients, and the reason we're offering it to you is because it is so easy, like Anna said, to get lost in that path. And you see an ad for a shiny new strategy and you follow that. And maybe you implement it or maybe you don't. But then you see another one and you follow that. And then you see another one and you follow that. And then all of a sudden it's been a couple years and you're still, in step one. But
Mhm.
this particular blueprint, the workbook that's inside, can really shift you and put you into the right place. And also, there's a really cool secret in there that Anna shares, which is so cool and so tangible, and you can actually do today. So
Yeah.
That's really
So if
cool.
you want that and you're watching this, just drop perfect audience in the comments and then we'll send it to you in direct messenger.
Absolutely.
So my next question, did you want to kind of summarize that first part real
I
quick?
forgot what I said already.
I know. Okay, so the second question. So let's just say that, maybe it's been 3 months since you've been doing your signature show consistently. You're repurposing some of that content for, other types of posts. And now you're ready to launch your program
Mhm.
or your coaching or whatever low ticket workshop or whatever it is that you want to
Mhm.
launch. And you're so excited because you've been consistent. You know that people are loving your content so far, and then you launch this, and then what happens is what you didn't expect is like there's lukewarm at best reception to the offer.
Yeah,
So
that
what's going
sucks.
on there? It does. I've experienced it. I've
Yeah,
learned
for
my lesson.
sure. It's like, my audience doesn't care about me. No one cares about my posts.
Right. Yeah.
Um, well, one of the things that I'll say is, and just like kind of go off of what you just said. Obviously, this is tough. It's emotional. It
Yeah.
is personal. We take it personal.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's not personal, but we take it personal. I'm gonna say that 9 times out of 10, you really didn't imagine success. 9 times out of 10, you created your thing and you're nervous as hell to launch it. You don't even believe that you're worthy of getting sales. You show up in who you are currently today, and that instead of showing up front, instead of the opposite, which is doing the inner work and actually like envisioning the success of it,
Mm-hmm.
actually savoring the success,
Mm,
you know, and doing and following the steps to bring that success from up here, from your mind into reality. Because if you think that you're just going to have an idea, create it, and then launch it and everything's going to be perfect just like that, while you're still the same person, you are going to get a client or two, but you're not going to have the level of success that you want.
yeah.
Because truly you need to be, when you're launching the thing that you're launching, you need to create it. You need to have the right strategy. If you don't have the right strategy, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have the right strategy with the right offer. So you need to do the human things, the tangible things, the smart things, right? To put your offer out there. And listen, if you want to talk to one of us about what those smart things are, we do have sessions, discovery sessions, strategy sessions that we are happy to look at where you're at and give you that game plan. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so let's just say that you have the strategy, you have the right offer, you've done the human things to succeed. But then you have to do the other things, the invisible side of success type of things, which is really align yourself, really work on your worthiness, really envision what it's going to feel like, savor the success, and continue posting, continue showing up from that place. That's the hard part, Anna.
Yeah.
So when you say like, what happens when you show up and nothing happens? Well, it's because you showed up from the wrong place to begin with 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I know this is because this type of work, internal work that I'm talking about, has to be very intentional. And very often you have to have someone holding you as powerful along the path to remind you to do those things.
Yes.
Because sometimes, especially people that have been on the path of spirituality for a long time, there's this false sense of security. Just because you know about the laws don't mean you're actually applying the laws and you're
Yeah.
actually living the laws. Just because and we were actually talking about this yesterday inside of the Goddess Circle, right? Just because you read a book doesn't mean you're masterful at what the book talks about. So that's why it's so, but if you do set up the system, have the offer, you have your messaging ready, you did the human things, you faced the resistance, because all of those human things that need to get done that I've been talking about, they show up with a shit ton of resistance.
Yeah.
So you have to like face that. And that's where the gold is, right? So you face the resistance and then you do the internal work of like, I I belong here. I was made for this journey.
Mm-hmm.
If God put me here, he's going to give me, she, is going to give me the way of getting this done correctly and profitably. But 9 times out of 10, you don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
You may say you do, but I challenge you. So believe it.
Yeah. It goes back again to that energy of where you're doing things from, and having the law of reverse effort affecting your results without you knowing it in the background, right?
Yeah.
And also, I think that because that has happened to me in the past, right? I've I've launched, I created like a free lead magnet, right? Like a free resource. And I think I had like 50 people download it, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready to like launch my like low ticket offer, right? And I think 22 people bought, which I think by any standards is pretty good. Or I think maybe it's 11. I think I'm like magnifying that in my mind. But
I was
I
going to
was
say that's pretty
disappointed.
good.
I know. Yeah. So I think it was 9 or 11, something like that. Which I was thinking was going to be way more.
Mm,
Um, but kind of looking back now, it was like I was thinking like what could it be? What could it be that have resulted in that kind of there's so many things, right? But at
yeah.
that time I feel like my energy was not like completely aligned with the offer or with the
Mm,
program or even with the thing that I'm like pivoting towards working, like building my business towards. So these were all kind of like signs for me to, okay, one, experience. I gained the experience of like doing this from scratch, and then like doing the entire thing and actually implementing, like you say, the human things. So I learned from experience, okay, what not to do, or at least to maybe improve it next time. But at the same time, it also told me a few other things as like clues as to like what my next steps would be.
well, that's where the answer is. So
Yeah.
bad luck is sometimes good luck,
Yeah.
and good luck is sometimes bad luck,
I
right?
agree.
So our society, our society tells us that success looks like this thing. This is what success looks like. But that's not always true, right? So we should always seek growth rather than success.
Yes.
Because if you seek growth in every single thing, success just kind of happens. It's this thing that you're in and out of, right? But
That's so good.
if you seek, if you do seek growth instead of success, and you realize that your bad luck I'm saying that in parentheses, right? Bad luck of
Yeah.
I only
Yes.
got 9 people out of 50 to sign up for my thing. What the heck? That
Yeah.
feels like that feels like defeat and bad luck at the time because
Yes.
we've been told that success is measured in how many people purchase. Success is measured in money. And I mean, this is obvious. Like our ego loves, that's why people love to throw numbers around. I made $1 million.
Right.
Your ego wants to see how they made $1 million, right? So we've been trained and conditioned to think this way. So you have
Yeah.
to untrain yourself to think that way. You
Yeah.
have to train yourself to think of success. We did this again also in the goddess circle yesterday, right? Like
Yes.
different things, different measures of success. But you have to stop thinking that accomplishment is stop being so attached to it and
Stop
think
being attached to the
you have
result.
to, yeah. Plus, look at you now. Like that was a blessing for you
Totally.
that it didn't work.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here otherwise.
Exactly. In fact, I found you right after that. Sue said, boom, that's gold, seek growth. Um, and that's how I always see things though. That's a mindset that I've developed having been an entrepreneur since 2009. I feel old. That, like everything is happening in my favor. That's my
Always.
mantra. And so if it
Well,
is happening
that's
in my
true.
favor, how is it happening in my favor? Because then it shifts your perspective, like literally the lens that you're seeing the situation from. It's like, how am I benefiting from this? Because there's always going to be a benefit.
Always. That's the growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
I mean, success lies. It does. And I think what I'm saying is probably very much in alignment with like Eastern philosophies, right? But if you think about it, it's so practical. If you get addicted to accomplishment and success as it is sold to us, um, it's like being addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
And success in the moment does not predict success in the long term.
Yes. And then how many people have been successful, have achieved the success that they think they wanted, and they achieve it and they get there and it feels empty.
Totally. And how many people have succeeded? And I know people like this actually. I've been running my own business for a while now, and I've seen the people who go straight to the top. And I hate seeing how some of them, crash and burn and, end up quitting and they're no longer even around, or they went and got a job in corporate or sometimes worse.
Hmm.
And that's really, it's kind of like being in high school and those people that peaked early.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them, right? Like you
Yes.
see it, the people, the kids that were the cool kids that end up being very mediocre in life.
Yeah.
And then the people who were the nerds and now they're hot shots in life. Like it happens in business all the time.
Mhm.
And I mean, you also see the people who've always kind of followed that path. But even those people, like okay, like the popular kid that also have a nephew I love who was he's just that kid. But I have to say, he wasn't someone that peaked early. He's always been someone who's been a hard worker and very grounded. So it
Mhm.
is possible to be great in high school and keep working hard, stay humble, work hard, and then do great in college. Now he's at Emory and he's in Italy right now and always has hot girlfriends and he just got an internship at some $1 million hedge fund. Like there are people that way. But the one thing that I notice about him all the time is he's grounded, he's
Mm.
humble, he's kind,
He has the balance.
he's got the balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So it's all about balance. It's what I've in terms of building your audience and tuning in to, do I still have the flow? Am I still in flow while I'm doing this thing, right? While I'm going out there and um doing my content, posting my content, going live, am I still in that flow? And because flow is very kind, it is flowy. It's not very tangible. But then here in the physical, because we are physical beings, we're able to then ground that flow, right? And then anchor that flow into our work. So that's ultimately like how we want to
With your
build an
actions.
audience.
Yeah. And no, absolutely. Everything you said, check mark. And know that the success of building your audience from scratch is largely out of your control,
Yeah.
right? It's largely out of your control. So develop a measure for that success um, that you can control. So think about what are the things that you can control. Okay. The things that you can control are being in a growth mindset. Oof.
Mhm.
The things that you can control is building your digital queendom and doing it right from the very beginning. If you don't know how to do that, we'll post a link somewhere so we can tell you what steps you need to take.
Mhm.
Okay. So do the things that are in your control and show up as that next version of yourself. And that's easier said than done, of course. But just because you are someone who is wise, who's read 100 books, or who's taken so many certifications, doesn't mean, and I know I speak this from my own experience as well, it doesn't mean that you're actually practicing what you preach all the time. And
Yeah.
we usually just, because there's so many little blind spots that we as social entrepreneurs fall into ourselves. And when you fall into that blind spot, that's where one of us is meant to catch you. Another sister, someone's
Yeah.
meant to say, I got you, baby. Here, get back in line.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah. So also, I can't believe you didn't actually mention this. Like for me, like, what was transformative for me when I started working with you was knowing how to talk about what I do.
Yeah.
Like literally, the words matter. Like I don't think that I really, really grasp that concept until like I've worked with you, been in the weekly calls, consistently going through your programs like every single week for like 8, 9 months.
Yeah.
That's mastery,
Yeah.
right? So I realized that. And that was like my biggest thing. Like if I had found you at the beginning, after like I transitioned from having owned the gym to going online, if I found you at that like point,
Hmm.
I could have skipped a lot of frustration and heartache. But I mean, obviously it's meant to be. Like I've learned a lot of great things during that journey. But that was so pivotal for me, and that's why like I stayed and like I'm here and we're here together, so we're meant to do this obviously, but that was so crucial.
Yeah.
That's why,
Your
and I
message,
also
finding
feel,
your message,
yes, your message
your
based on your
words,
mission and your purpose.
your higher purpose. Yes. So
Yeah.
people think that messaging is about copywriting, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's messaging doesn't put itself together.
No.
Um, it's a science, it's an art, and it doesn't have to be hard. It has to, but it you do have to put it you do have to create it and birth it, right?
Hmm.
Very few people in the world are natural messengers. There are people. I probably am one of them where messaging to me comes natural.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, you tell me sometimes we look at our stuff, you're like, how did you come up with that? I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's
I just do.
you're unconsciously competent because it's natural to you.
Oh, yes, there you go. I love how your brain
This is why we work.
unconsciously competent at that, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense because back in the day, I used to teach sales, right? And
Mhm.
and I've always loved words and that kind of thing. So that's why I think it's always been in my wheelhouse of competence. But that's very few and far between people could actually do that. And by the way, just about being unconsciously competent about something. I still had to put myself through lots of new training in terms
Yeah,
of learning the actual science of messaging.
totally.
Because when you are unconsciously competent at something, you are making a shit ton of mistakes.
Yes.
So until you're consciously competent,
Yeah.
then you can then you have freedom because you know what laws are what and what to break where and to
Correct.
create. So
Yeah.
I get
So
passionate
when you
about this.
say from going from unconscious to consciously competent, um, and putting the science and the strategies together, like how marketing works and the psychology behind it and all of that, like learning that consciously, and then when you're also unconsciously competent along with that, that's when you can now start creating systems and programs to teach
Yeah.
that, which you have done.
Yes.
That's the process that you went through in order to be able to teach others something that you are unconsciously competent with and help them become consciously competent with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I did. That was my journey to being masterful of the things that I teach. Like for example, we have a client and she owns an acupuncture uh brick and mortar business,
Yeah.
and we are helping her create, well, she does more than just that. She's also she's she's into Chinese medicine. She's a functional doctor and she helps women lose weight while they're going through menopause and all these things, right? But she also has this really soulful side up to her business. Like
Hmm.
she talks about super conscious creation. And so you have different element there,
Yeah.
right? So, like taking something like that and creating messaging. And by the way, she already had like a funnel created. And when we looked at it, it was like, oh my God, this is so generic
Mm-hmm.
because it's just copywriting. It's not
Yeah.
like it lacks who she is in that funnel.
Totally.
So it's so much more than just having a good hook and a couple of things that you can find from ChatGPT. So messaging is all about um, bringing that soul into the words and making sure that it's in alignment with the purpose that this human being is serving and that
Yeah.
it sells. It's a lot
Yeah.
of little things.
So many little
So
things.
I don't want to leave everyone thinking like, oh my God, this messaging thing is a hard thing. It's not. It's beautiful. Like when you discover it and you really go on the journey of living in your message and discovering your message more and more every day, it's beautiful. And it's something that you will always have to do as you grow your business. I know that you are probably trying to avoid that and pay the experts to do that.
Yeah.
Don't F around with your message.
But I would say pay the right experts.
Yes, I mean, yeah, of course. What
because
I'm saying,
the client, I don't know if we're allowed to say her name, but like she also has worked with others in the past that are not so good at what they do.
Yeah.
That's why her funnels are so generic.
Yeah.
Um, because I think you had this testimonial from another client she's like, you can just pay a copywriter to write your copy for you.
Oh
You
yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
know your message, and you are so right. It's so much fun once you actually like connect like how messaging works and then how it will work for your message.
Yeah. We should probably do another episode just about this, but part of messaging is like you knowing your philosophies, the things that you really believe in. Like I just shared a bunch of stuff that I really believe in today, right?
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with marketing. It has to
Yes.
do with success, like my definition of success, how I believe success can be a very it can be a liar, like all of those things that we talked about today. That's my personal beliefs and message philosophy. Like, how do you take that and use it with the things that you are putting out with your offers and sell? Like, all of that is messaging. That's
Yeah.
the art of it. And that's why I love doing it. Like, I work on, like even with the example that we're giving, I love working on her stuff because I can see things that she cannot see
Mm-hmm.
because she lives it. So I'm like, oh no, no,
Yes.
no, no. We're gonna use this and we're gonna use that and we're gonna put it here.
Yes.
It's too you don't see your brilliance because to you just live it. Like
Yeah.
just common
It's
sense.
natural to you.
It's natural.
Yeah, that's the thing with our gifts and our talents. People have to point it out to us because we're not aware really what they are.
We're
Yeah.
usually scared of them.
Yeah. Or we judge ourselves because we're like that naturally. It's like, wait a minute, this is actually a gift. I didn't know, you know?
Totally. But
So
when you
let's
discover
wrap
your
it up.
right message, when you discover your message, you don't have to prepare as much. You don't
True.
have to like live from script to script.
Oh, I love that.
You know, I mean, you and I mean, we have an outline here, but totally off script.
I don't think we'll ever use it.
I don't think so either, but you still have that sense of preparation,
Yes.
which I always say, like, be prepared.
Yeah.
And when you have that level of preparation, and then, spirit can come and say, I got better plans.
Yes, exactly. Then you can just flow with it
Then you can flow with it.
for sure. So let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, wrap it in. Let me begin.
That's what I call flow.
um, Listen, we feel so grateful that you spent this time with us, whether you're watching us live or you are listening to it on the replay. Never take it for granted that you spent this time with us. So if you haven't yet grabbed the Efficient Influencer workbook, I call it a workbook. I know. But it's more than that, actually. It's a total blueprint.
Yes.
You definitely should do that. This is something that, like I said, we are using with our paid clients. So this is our gift to you. Go ahead and grab that. And if you are at that place where you feel like you need someone else to help pinpoint these things that you're not, but you have to be ready for truth because I don't dilly dally. I will tell you exactly what you need, and that's worth a lot. Um, but you have to be ready for the truth. And sometimes if you're good, you're good. I'll tell you that too. So, if you want to do that, obviously, definitely send Anna or myself a DM or find us, you can always find us an email. And I'm sure you can put links all over the place here as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's it. You have anything else that you want
No,
to add?
I think you did it well, summarized it well. This has been a great conversation. Like Marielle said, thank you for being here with us every single week and giving us your precious time. We hope that it has helped you. And if you have any questions, you can always drop it in the comments, and we will always go back and answer it there. as
Yeah,
well.
and if you're watching this somewhere else, like our podcast, and you're not in our Facebook group, there will be a link here as well for you to join us. So
Yeah.